Let's start here today. Let's start here. Y equals mx plus b, something very familiar to us. If I had you to graph something in that form, the graph would be a blank. So something in that form, I give you a piece of graph paper and say, please graph this equation. On your paper would be a what, Mahmood? A line. Everyone agrees it would be a line on your paper. A linear line? And I just start writing linear. Line, yep. Last year, I think hopefully your teacher gave you this. All right. Where a number was plugged in for A, B, and C. If I give you a piece of graph paper and say, graph this equation, what's that graph called? Anybody remember from last year? Avery?
It's like the U.
It's the U. Yep. It's got a name other than the U because it could look like this. Serena?
Is that a parabola?
Parabola. Good. That's a parabola. So you guys are already familiar with a couple types of equations. Now you're going to be familiar with the third, and that is the equation of a circle. It looks pretty intimidating right now, but it's not. X minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equals r squared. So let's go over the two most important pieces of that formula. There will be numbers plugged in for h and k. You will see numbers plugged in for h and k. The h represents the x coordinate, and the k represents the y coordinate of the center of the circle. All right, there'll be numbers plugged in, and I'll pull those numbers out, and that will tell me what the center of the circle is. The second most important piece is the r squared. What do you think r represents? We're in a circle. We're in a circle. Radius length. Now I want you to be careful. That says r squared. So let's say you have the number 25 plugged in. Is the radius length 25? No. No. R squared is 25. So what would my radius length be in this case? 5. Okay, so don't just assume it means that's the radius length. That's the r squared value, not the r value. And I got good news once we do the first problem. I do have some good news here at the end. All right, let's start it. Part A, write the equation of a circle. I give you the center, and I give you the radius length. Write the equation of the circle. I'm going to take this very, very slow. X and Y stay X and Y, just like any other equation we've done. X and Y stays X and Y. So X, what's my H value? What is the X coordinate of the center right now? What's the X coordinate of this center? 10. So I'm going to go X minus 3. Everyone see where that came from? Squared plus Y. What's the Y? What am I doing wrong?
Okay, maybe I'm being wrong, but is it the center X coordinate 1?
Here? We're doing part A, big dog.
Oh, my B. Sorry.
My B.
I apologize.
Yeah, never say that again.
Quan thought it
What are you,
too.
what are you, hardcore? You're in
I thought I
Delmar,
was being
okay?
super
You're not
stupid.
hardcore.
And I asked Quan,
Right.
and Quan also.
My B. Yep,
So don't
sorry.
blame me, blame Quan.
Yep.
And we're both.
Okay,
both
you and
wrong
Rico
anyway,
Suave,
so-
settle down over there, all right? Relax,
Dude, I was.
okay? All right, anyway, sorry about that. Well, I'm not sorry, but he should be. Next up, what's my Y coordinate of the center? What's my Y coordinate of the center? 5, what's my Y coordinate? Okay, so you guys think about this. I'm about to plug -3 in for K. So what's this going to be now? Y plus 3 squared. See where I got the plus? Because I'm doing Y minus a -3 becomes plus 3 equals, I don't want to put a 6 here. I want to put the R value squared. So instead I'll put 36. Now, can you write 6 squared? You can, but you're never going to see it like that, right? You're never going to see 6 squared. So figure out what the heck it is. 36. And I said there was good news. We're done. We're done with the equation. I know some of you maybe see this. and you think you have to do x minus 3 and x minus 3, I get it. No, you don't. No, you're good. We're done. We're done. There it is. There's the equation of this circle in part A. We're good. So that is the good news. Plug in your center and radius, and you're done. All right, now we'll get to part B. Usually how the letter alphabet goes. Yep. All right, now get it from a graph. All right, let's get our values from the graph. What is the center point here? What's the center of this circle? 10?
1, 3.
Okay, 1, 3. I can get that right off the graph. So let's plug it into our circle equation. X, what's your first step here? Go ahead. I don't want to call on numbers here. It's going to waste some time. X plus or minus? Minus, what's the x coordinate of the center? 1 squared plus y plus or minus? Plus, minus? Minus, thank you. 3 squared. All right, I will call on somebody here. What's the radius length? Radius length here? 7? 2. I need it squared before you plug it into the formula, so we're going to see a 4 here. Avery, go.
Okay, my question is, we know the value of 3, 3. Could we plug that into the equation also, just instead of the x and y?
3, 3 is a point on the circle which represents your x and your y. So watch. We're ready. Here's how this works. So if you do 3 and 3, ready? What's 3 minus 1? Squared? 3 minus 3. Squared?
So it's not you, like if you're given that point, you don't have to plug it in.
No.
Okay.
No. X stays X, Y stays Y. X and Y are just points on the circle. All right, as you can see there with the 3, 3. Anybody else? Great question. Anybody else? You good, Jonathan? All right, great. All right, part C. Center at 0, -2, and a radius length of radical 26, huh, kids? All right, let's see how we do here. X minus 0 squared. Relax. Plus, what's going to be here with the y now? Plus 2, right? Who's on top of their game?
26.
Just 26, right? Because, hey, radical 26 squared, that's how you get 26. You going to say something?
Oh yeah. Do you have to write the minus here?
Okay, here's my next point before we move on. You're probably not going to see it written like this in your textbook, on tests or quizzes. This is going to be simplified. So how can I simplify this a little more? Write it as what? X squared, yes. So if you just see x by itself or y by itself, you know that coordinate is 0. This is how you'll see it written. All right, so if you see the x or y by itself, that coordinate should have been 0. How do we feel, all right? All right. A little bit different question. I'm just not going to come out and give you the center and radius. I give you the center, but not the radius. You got to find it. Write the equation of this circle. Center -3, 2. -3, -2. 1. And it goes through 1, -2. Very, very poor choice of problem selection on my part, by the way. Not your fault. 100% my fault. Should have definitely picked a tougher problem here. Definitely way too easy on this one for you. All right, there's your circle if you want a visual. We already know the center. So let's plug it in. Oh, look at you guys using your compasses. How beautiful. I've always wanted to go all the way around. How you starting this off? X. I'll keep calling on numbers. 1. Meg, X. What's the rest of it? X. -3, -2 is my center, so it's going to be X plus 3 all squared. Tell me something about the y parenthesis here. 5. Yeah, y minus 2. Isn't it y minus k? So what's going to happen when I plug in a negative 2? Got him. Rattled.
Listen. These guys are whispering wrong answers in my ear. So
That's why you're the worst pair in the nation.
Yeah. Wait, repeat the question.
Okay. I need to know what I need to put here if my y coordinate is negative 2. But hold on, Greg. It's y minus.
No, plus 2.
Why is it plus 2?
'Cause it's-
Y minus a negative 2 becomes y plus 2 squared. You good? Okay. What about the radius length? How long is the radius here? And this is why I made this problem way too easy. 23. How long is the radius length? 4 units long. Yep. Just count it, right? 4 units. So I'm going to put a 16 here. Scenario on tonight's homework or this weekend's homework you may run into. What if it's not convenient to count? What happens if I said the circle goes through that point right there? How do you find the radius length then? If you can't count, I'm going to have to bust out what? Distance formula. Yep, and do that. So heads up tonight. What?
What if you like drew in a right triangle and then did Pythag? Could you do that?
Remember we did Pythag at the beginning. If you don't want to remember distance formula, that's fine. Yep. Everyone else all good? It's gonna. There we go. I was hoping he didn't come up. Reverse time. Let's go in reverse. I will give you the equation. You graph it. So you're going to need to give me 2 things from the equation. What's the center of this circle? And what's the radius? Just by the equation alone. So let's do this all as a class here. If I have x minus 2 in the first parenthesis, what must have been the x coordinate of the center then? 2, positive 2. And if I have plus 1 in this second parenthesis, what's your y coordinate of the center? Negative 1. And here's where I need you to be careful. What's my radius? 36 is the r squared. So the radius length, 6. Now, how do I graph this? Negative 2, negative 1 is my center. How are you guys going to get more points on the circle? Right here. Radius is 6. I can go up 6, down 6, right 6, left 6, whatever floats your boat. Draw in my circle from there. Yep. Problem?
Yeah, I think I might have drawn it wrong.
Yeah, I did. Son of a gun. How about here now? One job. We okay? And here's where the wheels are going to fall off in the next 5 minutes. I'll do as slow as I can in 5 minutes here. What don't you like about it? It's not in our form, right? Just so you guys know, gets a little vocabulary. This form we've been working with all day today. I've told you in the past, mathematicians are clever. This form is called center radius form. Huh? How about that? That's called center radius form right there. Makes sense, huh? Center radius. This form I'm giving you in problem number 2 is in standard form. And what I'm going to show you before we leave today is how do I make a standard form look like center radius form? And the answer to that question is something I asked you guys yesterday if you were exposed to or not. The way we're going to go from standard to center radius is by doing this process. Completing the square. If you remember or not, we're doing it right now. First step, make sure the single number's on the other side. Do I have that? Single number. Next thing, group the x's and the y's together. Rewrite your equation so the x's are together and the y's. So I'm going to do x squared minus 8x plus y squared plus 2y equals negative 8. Make sure they are grouped together, please. Now it's time to complete the square. Not once, we're going to complete the square twice. Once for the x's and once for the y's. Let's see if anything clicks from last year. X squared minus 8x, you are going to add a number to those. How do I calculate that number? This right here has an a and a b value. What's the b value right now with the x's? What's the b value? Negative 8. You take half of it. Do that in your mind right now. Half your b value, everyone got that number? And square it. Half your b value squared, what number do we end up with? 16. All right, you take half your b value and square it. And you're going to do the same thing for the y's. What's your b value now? 2. Everyone in your mind right now. Half of it squared. Half of it squared. What number do you end up with? 1, right? We all okay? Half the b value squared. All right. Equals negative 8. I got a problem right now. Here's my problem. We were like this. Now we're like this. This isn't like I'm a little teapot here. What's my problem? What am I trying to tell you here? We were like this, and now I just did this. What am I trying to tell you my problem is? Did you change the left side? You better balance it on the other side by adding 16 and 1 again. Add 16. Whatever you add to the left, you add to the right. What am I going to get over here? 9. And now you factor. Ready? X's. 2 numbers that multiply to 16 but add to negative 8. 4n, negative 4n, negative 4, right? And you know what? I'm not going to force this. I will finish this on Friday. We'll do it in class together on Monday. Don't do, let's see, 24 through 26. All right, save those for Monday's class. All right, this is way too important just to throw at you and not practice. All right, so don't do 24 through 26 over the weekend. We'll finish this up. It's way too important just to fly by it. Have a good weekend.